Why outside, Shaggy? With the zombies, where the hell would we go? Thorn asked. Just drive around the mystery machine. Fred said I can borrow it, Shaggy replied, showing Thorn the mystery machine keys. They headed outside of the bunker, and then they climbed in the mystery machine before driving off. While the two lovebirds were off on their alone time, Daphne and Fred were walking down the hallway of the bunker. Shaggy and Thorn had told everyone that they were now a couple, and they all supported their love for each other. While walking down the hall, Fred and Daphne looked to see Max in one of the testing rooms. He wasn't on the chair that he was in when they arrived. Where's Max? He's not on the chair, Fred said. I have no idea. Let's go investigate the room, Daphne replied, opening the door as she and Fred entered the room. There were no traces of blood or anything to leave clues on where Max was, until Daphne saw on the ground. She picked up the note to read it. It was written by Max himself. Freddie, I found a note here. This looks like it was from Max. As Daphne said that, Fred joined Daphne as they began to read the note. Max here. June 27th is the day I write this. I've been beaten up by a group of raiders before coming to Circanancom bunker. Ever since reviving the cat creatures, my life has been one hell of a roller coaster. Ever since Mystery Inc. had imprisoned me and my friends, I've been wanting to get back at them for a long time. Since this world is now shit due to the zombies, Steve, Laura, and I have been keeping the book of the Frontier of the Dead, or whatever the hell it's called. I lost Steve when he was bitten by one of them and took off, fearing of me and Laura becoming one of them. Laura was bitten on the shin and took her own life by a bullet to the head. I was lost and depressed without my friends to help me. I don't frickin' know if the cat creatures are alive or not. I could care less if they're all dead. After I was beaten up by a group of raiders near Circanancom bunker, I was found by a group of survivors from the bunker, and they took me in. After I was in the hospital bed for a few hours to rest, they put me in isolation in this room. They saw that I was bitten by a zombie. Hell, I didn't even know I was bitten. Maybe I got bitten while out and didn't notice. Who the hell knows how I have gotten bitten? I have been in this room for God knows how long, as I have lost track of how many days, maybe weeks even. I may become one of them if anyone reads this. Goodbye if that's the case. As soon as Daphne and Fred finished reading the note, a growl emerged from the right of the corner of the darkness. Max walked out of the shadows with tentacles for arms. He had mutated into a tendril. Daphne and Fred had to get weapons, so they turned to head for the door. As soon as they opened the door quickly, they ran out of the room and shut the door. Max was trying to break down the door. Daphne rushed around the area to find a weapon to kill the tendril. While looking around, she found a chainsaw on the table, just outside of the room the way they came in from a table. Daphne reaches for the chainsaw and revs it up, just to get it going. Fred then pushed the door open, forcing Max to be flung from the door. When he shut the door just as Daphne got close to the tendril with the chainsaw in hand, she plunged the chainsaw into the left side of the tentacles of the tendril. Outside of the room of the common area, Dusk, Luna, and Velma and Lunar can hear the chainsaw being revved up and cutting into flesh. This concerned them, thinking that someone was in danger. They followed the sound of the chainsaw. Once they got close to where the sound of the chainsaw was coming from, Velma looked inside through the window of the door. She saw that Daphne was holding a chainsaw. She was killing a zombified Max with it. So that's where the sound is coming from, Velma thought, seeing the carnage before her eyes. As Daphne continues to see using the chainsaw, she splits the tendril's tentacle arms off before smashing the saw into the zombie's skull, killing it instantly. Daphne and Fred looked like they were attacked, Lunar said. They see the carnage of the room before his eyes. I hope none of them got hurt or worse, Luna added. As Daphne killed the tendril, the chainsaw ran out of gas. She was covered in blood. All over her once purple outfit she wore during Zombie Island, which is Ghost and Cyberchase, was now covered in blood. Fred was covered in blood too, but not drenched in it like Daphne was. They soon turned around to see Velma, Dusk, Luna, and Lunar that walked into the room. What the fuck happened? Velma asked. It's like a bloodbath in here. What happened to you two? You're both all covered in blood and Daphne's literally drenched in it, Luna added. Fred and I were walking down the hallway. We know that one of the scientists from Scorpion Ridge was locked up in here. When we found this note, it was clear he was bitten. Then he came out as this tendril guy and started to attack us, Daphne replied, handing the note to Velma so she, Dusk, and Luna and Lunar could read it. He was bitten, and by the looks of what the note says, he mutated into a tendril? Dusk asked. Yeah, it tried to attack us until Daphne used a chainsaw to kill it, Fred said. At least you two are okay. When we heard the chainsaw sounds, we started to get really worried and thought that something was wrong, Luna replied. At least you're both okay. That's what really matters. Why don't you go have a shower and take off these blood-stained clothes? I'll bring some clean ones as I wash them, Velma suggested. That'll work. Want to join me, Daph? Fred asked Daphne. You know I can't turn down an offer like that, Fred. Let's head to the showers together and have some fun, Daphne chuckled, smirking seductively at Fred, if you know what I mean. As Daphne and Fred headed for the showers to wash off the blood off, Velma then took the bloodstained clothes to wash them. During that time, Lunar had brought Daphne and Fred some dry clothes for them to change after their shower. Scooby was playing with the other dogs in an area of Secreticon bunker. He made a lot of new dog friends. Shaggy always encouraged Scooby to try and make new friends, although Scooby was a very shy dog at times. Just then, a golden retriever shows up in the kennel to play with the other dogs. She had the peace sign necklace around her neck. It took Scooby to realize that it was Amber. Since that during the alien fiasco, he nor Shaggy have seen Amber with her owner Crystal for quite a long time. Ramber? Scooby asked, walking up to the golden retriever. Is it real? Why, yes it is, Scooby. You almost didn't recognize me? Amber replied, questioning Scooby. I almost didn't, Scooby said, seeing Crystal was watching the other dogs, as well as Amber. She looked up from her magazine, recognizing Scooby talking to Amber. She walked into the kennel to talk to him. Hey, Scooby, it's me, Crystal. Remember? Crystal said, hoping that Scooby would remember. I remember you, Crystal, Scooby replied, looking Crystal's face. I hope Shaggy is here. I haven't seen him in a while now. How has he been doing? Crystal asked. Raggy's doing rude, Scooby answered. That's good. I want to talk to him the next time I see him. Dr. Adler said that he's out of the bunker for a while. I came to visit Earth when the zombie outbreak started, mainly because I wanted to look at houses for rent here, Crystal said. You mean you're living here? Scooby asked. Yes, I hope Shaggy returns soon. I really want to know how he's doing. It's been so long since I last talked to him, Crystal said. Just as she said that, Shaggy and Fawn showed up to check on Scooby. Hi, Scoob, Shaggy said, alerting the Great Dane as he ran towards his best friend. As Scooby jumped on Shaggy, he knocked him down to the ground, kissing his face. Raggy, Ramber, and Ristle are here, Scooby announced, getting off of Shaggy as Fawn helped him up. You mean, zoinks! Like you're right, Scoob. Crystal and Amber are here, Shaggy said, as Crystal and Amber walked up towards them. Hey, Shaggy, it's been a long time since we last seen each other, Crystal said. How are you holding up in this outbreak? Like, we're doing fine here. What brings you and Amber here? Shaggy asked. I'm looking at getting a house here, but since the zombies are out, I've come here to hide in this bunker, Crystal explained. I see that this is your girlfriend, Crystal asked, noticing that Fawn was with them. Yes, I'm Fawn from the Hex Girls. It's a band that I'm in. Well, my real name is Sally McKnight. It's nice to see you, Crystal, Fawn said, then looked at Shaggy. You know her? Yeah, I do know Crystal. During the time Scooby and I were with Mystery Inc. at Scorpion Ridge, that was a time when our mystery machine broke down there, and we waited for our van to get repaired. Scoob and I ran into her and Amber, her dog, Shaggy explained. Oh, that makes sense now, Fawn said. Shaggy saved me and Amber from those free scientists during that whole alien fiasco back then. However, Shaggy did have a crush on me back then, but I am sensing that you two are now a couple. If that makes sense, I congratulate you two on being together, Crystal replied. Why, Crystal, if you're gonna, since you're buying a house here when the zombies are over and the world is back to normal, do you plan to live in a house here? Because if that's the case, may we arrange a day for us and Scoob and Amber to have play dates? Shaggy questioned. I don't mind that. As long as your girlfriend doesn't mind, Crystal stated. I don't mind at all. I know Shaggy would never cheat on me. He's no cheater. Besides, why would he sleep with someone when he has me? Foreign replied. She laughed along with Shaggy and Crystal. Scooby and Amber started to laugh too. Even Scooby fell on his back, laughing like a hyena on drugs. It won't be a one-night stand, Sally, and I respect that Shaggy's with you. I have heard of the Hex Girls before, on TV and the newspapers, and I want to say it's so nice to meet one of you guys from the band, Crystal said. My other two bandmates are helping Dr. Adler with something, but they'll be glad to meet you. Shaggy did say you met the rest of the gang as well as your dog and is very friendly and cute, Foreign replied, petting Amber as she stood beside her. Maybe we'll do a girls' night one day. I'm sure that'll be fun, Crystal stated. As the few days went on the outbreak, Foreign's symptoms of the serum of the first dose she took started to subside more often by the fourth day. She hadn't gone berserk since the day the Raiders were playing hardball, but at least she's been calm for most of the time. It has been 7 days since she had her first dose, and went to see Dr. Adler for the second dose of the serum, in the vials of the vaccine that the gang had found. Once Foreign took the second dose, she felt a lot better, and was announced no longer a healthy carrier of the virus within 24 hours since the second dose was given to her. The gang and the Hex Girls, along with Lunar, Crystal, and Amber, were in the office that hasn't been occupied for a while. They had plans to head over to the wasteland, and they sure had plans to stop the zombie outbreak, with the help of the spellbook that was used to bring the zombies and cat creatures to life. Will be used to end the outbreak. Lunar had suggested getting the gang and mystery machine a bit of an upgrade, to which they had plans to turn it to something like a badass monster truck. The mechanics here will help model up your mystery machine like a monster truck. That will be useful for getting around blockages, Lunar said. We'll take the Jeep to follow you guys, and we'll get to the wasteland no problem. As long as we make it there alive and not have any problems, I'm all forward for it, Foreign said. Since the cat creatures are dead and the scientists we fought in Scorpion Ridge are dead, we have a chance to have no problems or interruptions. So that is where we will win, Fred stated proudly. Dr. Adler has some weapons here that'll be useful, but we will need to go to Fort Pasture to get some explosives, Lunar said. Why does Circonomcom bunker does not have that? Velma questioned. I don't know. That's something I have no idea about, Lunar answered. The mystery machine was remodeled as a monster truck within just a few days, to which it was very powerful. Everyone got in the mystery machine, as Fred would be driving the monster truck, although he's never driven one before. The remainder of the people that were not in the monster truck took a jeep, so they could follow behind. As they were getting closer to Fort Pasture, they could hear the cries for help by someone from the outpost. Confused as they were, the gang along with the Hex Girls and their friends got out of their vehicles. They could see some mutated zombies attacking the soldiers. It happened to be a leader who was crying for help. He was the commander of Fort Pasture. Then he noticed the gang calling out to him, Kill them! Hurry! My man can't hold off any longer! The commander screamed. This got the gang their attention. Lunar grabbed the Wraith gun and started to go batshit crazy on it, and was firing very fast and gunning down the zombies, as many as he could, while walking backwards. This was just a wave of zombies that were dead. A Titan showed up and tried to attack them. But it wasn't just any Titan, it was a black charred one. This type of Titan was harder to take down. The gang fired their guns at the Black Titan, gunning it down with everything they had. As soon as they approached the gang very quickly, it tried to hit them with his attack, but it luckily missed as they were able to get away fast enough. Crystal looked to see a young girl, no older than 5, trapped in an abandoned car. She was crying and screaming for help. She was terrified of that Black Titan attacking. Crystal ran over towards the abandoned car with Amber tagging along. The two transformed into aliens as they pried the door of the car open to get the girl free. Crystal grabbed her and ran towards Fort Pasture with Amber. We need to take this thing down. I'm not sure how much more bullets it will take, Fred said. Then Foreign had an idea. She looked to see a large tree that looked like it could be cut down. I've got an idea. I think it will work, Foreign said. I could cut that large tree down, and if it hits the Titan on the head, it may crush it or stun him at least. We need to use a saw to do that. I don't know if we have one. Shaggy replied. But then Ford saw a chainsaw by the tree, so she revved it up, and which thankfully it had gas. I'll lure the Titan when it's near to the tree when it cuts you down, Lunar instructed. Dusk and Luna rushed towards the tree, as they were going to hold back any zombies that were heading their way. Thorn began to cut down the tree, just as the Black Titan was in the range of where the tree was going to fall. She was going as fast as she could, pushing the chainsaw against the tree with all of her strength. Eventually she cut the tree, to which it started to fall very fast. Everyone got out of the way just in time, and the tree fell on the Black Titan, crushing its head as it fell to the ground. That was a close one. Let's see if the commander's okay, Fred said. Then the gang walked towards the entrance of Fort Pasture to see the commander. He was okay, thankfully, and the same with his soldiers, as he thanked them for helping his outpost out. They were almost overwhelmed by the zombie outbreak, and even the wave of zombies. Once Lunar explained their mission to the commander, he got in his soldiers to get the firearms for the people to hand over, such as grenade launchers, rocket launchers, and even grenades to them. Once they got what they needed, the Hex Scrolls gave him an autograph on his vest, seeing that he was a huge fan of them. He also carried a mystery ink, so he also asked for their autographs as well. As soon as the gang got what they needed, they drove from Fort Pasture to the wasteland beyond south of Fairview, knowing that this was going to end the outbreak once and for all. The gang then drove their vehicles to the entrance of the wasteland, which was only a few blocks away from Pernick 13. The gang all got out of their vehicles with weapons in hand, and they also have the spellbook of the Frontier of the Dead. A spellbook that brought the zombies to life will disintegrate them and the world will go back to normal. They all stood at the entrance of the wasteland, seeing the zombies roaming around. Well, gang, this is it. The wasteland is in front of us, Fred said. This looks dangerous, Crystal commented. It sure does, Daphne added, not liking the situation one bit. We'll get this out of here alive. First, let's walk into the wasteland to read the book, Dusk said. Then everyone walked towards the wasteland. There were some old buildings in ruins, as well as dead trees and zombies roaming around. Once they killed a few zombies that crossed their path, they found a spot to read the book. As Fornif was flipping through the pages of the book, she was trying to find the spell that would turn the whole world back to normal. As she was doing that, some of the zombies soon started to take notice of the gang's presence. Lunar began to snipe them down, all the sirens they could see, so that way they didn't alert any more zombies to attack them. It took a little while, but Forn found the spell in the book. I found it, she said, flipping through the book like it may work. Once she memorized the spell, she took a deep breath and began reading it out loud. You found the spell? Velma asked. Yes, I did, and I hope this spell works. Otherwise, we're screwed, Forn replied, praying that the spell works. You might want to hurry. These zombies will notice us very soon if it isn't done sooner, Lunar replied, warning Forn about more zombies as he could see in the wasteland. Forn had to read the spell as quickly as she could before they became overwhelmed by the zombies. For those who have started to walk the earth will perish, all undead will no longer live on earth. Things that will be the way they are will no longer be in a world of hell. Return to the evil hell, dead in peace, you undead monsters! Forn said the spell, causing a bit of a big flash to appear all around the gang. I'm confused. Is this spell supposed to do that? Dusk asked. I don't understand. This is the right spell for it. I double-checked it, Forn replied. The zombies are disintegrating. The spell's working, Lunar called. Then Forn could see the zombies started to disappear like dusk in the thin air. The zombies were disintegrating, even the mutated ones as well. They would finally be able to rest in peace. They were people before the outbreak, but they had the chance to rest in peace. For those who were still around, change back to normal. Like shield your eyes, gang, Fred said, as everyone shielded their eyes. A bright flash shone all around Fairview, like magic. All the buildings were restored to how they were before. Even the roads that no longer had piles of cars blocking them or rubble blocking them. Certain intersections, the wastelands even got some dead trees that were coming back to life with leaves and all. The dirt on the ground of the wasteland was now grassed with a dirt path that was made. After the magic has done its work, the whole world was back the way it was. No zombies, no mutated infected, no killing, no fire. Everything was restored the way it was. The gang even looked around their surroundings. "We rid it," Scooby said, cheering for the fact that the world was back the way it was. "We sure did, Scoob," Shaggy replied to his best friend. "You did it, Fawn. You saved us all," Dusk and Luna both said at the same time, giving their leader of the bear band a hug. "We sure did, girls. That was wicked cool, with that spell that I did," Fawn replied, when she walked up towards Shaggy. "Now that everything's back to normal, are you going to do more band tours?" Shaggy asked. "Yes, but I promise we'll stick together as a couple no matter what, even if life gets in the way, Shaggy," Fawn replied. Then she pulled Shaggy closer to form a kiss. As Luna watched the two kiss, she sighed and then looked at them. "I always knew you will stick together no matter what," Luna said, before getting a tap on his shoulder by Lunar. "Hey, Luna, I was wondering if we could also, would you be okay if you went out with me? Like as boyfriend and girlfriend?" Lunar asked. "Well, I never thought of dating anybody while being in the band, mainly with tours and that can keep band girls busy," Luna replied. "But since Shaggy and Fawn are both going to be a couple and make it work, I can't see why we can't as well," Luna said, kissing Lunar on his head as his dad watched from afar. "You did it," Dog said, surprising everyone with Chief Jackson, Nastia, Dr. Adler, and even the commander of Fort Pasture met up the gang and congratulated them on stopping the zombies. "Dad, I'm so glad you're okay," Lunar said. Then he announced that he and Luna have just gotten together in a relationship. "How's Rose?" Velma asked. "She's doing fine. She's doing a lot better, by the way," Chief Jackson replied, as Rose Martin stepped out. "Hey, Velma, I'm sorry for snapping at you and your friends back at Prinnick 13. I guess I kind of went insane and lost my sanity. Well, I'll be okay, though," Rose replied, apologetic. "All good, Rose. But where are you going to go now that the outbreak is over?" Velma questioned. "Don't worry about me. I'll be okay. I'm in my 50s, but I'll manage," Rose said. "Are we going to part ways for a while?" Daphne asked the Hex Girls, although they weren't really sure about that, seeing that they have been seeing the gang on and off on mysteries such as the witch's ghost and the vampire you're at Vampire Rock and etc. "I have a better idea. Why don't Lunar, Crystal, Amber, and the Hex Girls join us?" Fred suggested. "Us? Being a part of Mystery Inc.? Crystal and Amber were both surprised but shocked by Fred's offer. "That's too much, Fred. You don't have to," Lunar said. "Are you sure about that?" Fawn asked. "Yeah, like we can help each other out. After all, we're all friends and we all stay together," Fred stated. "In that case, we're in," Luna said, as Dusk and Fawn also nodded in agreement. "Is that okay, Dad?" Lunar asked. "If that's what path you've chosen, Lunar, you may. Be sure you come visit with me and we'll keep in contact," Dog said. "Now this is a great promotion," Amber said to Scooby, kissing his face. As the gang, along with Lunar, Crystal, and Amber and the Hex Girls, headed back to where they had started before the outbreak at the fair, they had a concert where the Hex Girls performed very well at the concert, singing one of their biggest hits of their songs that they have sang before. Scooby and the gang had found their true friends and to be family to them. And as soon as the fair was over, they all left Fairview a few days later. Wherever they go, they will always be together, even if it's on another mystery. With Max, Steve, Laura dead, as well as the cat creatures, no one will be able to cause trouble again. That is, until there is another mystery waiting to be solved.